for this session, the title, which is no less weighty than the future of social value. And we will do that justice, I'm sure, with an amazing panel.
I think the understanding still is quite like at a low level, the kind of the symbiosis of social issues, climate change, environmental, economic, and governmental regulation. What is everything affects. You cannot solve climate change without solving societal, like social problems, because social problems created the climate change, you know, and vice versa. So that kind of understanding, so I think that has to be maybe going out from this community to the wider community, every conversation, that these things are so interlinked.
Most policy initiatives, you hear about them once and they disappear into the ether and never hear about them ever again. So to that extent, I think the awareness, if not the understanding, is light years ahead of where we expected. But the sophistication of social value, there's still a lot to be done around that.
We have to start building some best practices for actual social value delivery. So focusing on what are the impactful activities. They have to be tangible, explicit to the contract, and they have to be relevant for the society, and they have to be validated. So then we actually can see that the procurement policy note works, you know, and it delivers results.
Okay, and when we look at it through a quality lens, then what I see there is that actually measurements and impacts kind of come, numbers and money seems to be the story. And I'm not, you know, I'm a big fan of measurements. I'm not saying we shouldn't be measuring, but it's part of the story. It's not the story.
So it's important that the impact data is validated and it also has qualitative aspects of it. It doesn't mean that it's all just qualitative stories. Of course, there are all kind of outputs and inputs and all these kind of things. But before you can put a number on it then and label it, that how much value has been delivered in money-wise, you know, you have to really know where you stand. And some kind of standardized one number doesn't apply to all.
Alongside that, engaging people, and both in terms of what social value is and therefore what initiatives you might deliver, but also then how you go and understand it and measure it. And perhaps one of the challenges that we've seen is that lots of people, lots of organizations, social value is basically who you buy stuff from, your procurement, and who you employ, particularly on the construction side. And that then is really missing that impact on communities, impact on people that you then have afterwards. It's almost like we're more interested in whether we employed local people to fit the windows rather than whether the windows are actually keeping people warm and dry during kind of the winter when we can't afford our heating anymore. So I think it's really important we focus on those real values, real impacts.
Companies collaborating with grassroots level organization, VCSCs. So that part has been forgotten sometimes in these past 2 years when the mandatory requirement came to place, that actually a lot of solutions lie in the VCSC sector because they are the experts of all the challenges. There are experts on every challenge, wonderful organizations. They know what they're doing and they're actually measuring. They could be reporting.
The job of policymakers at a local level and a central level is to create the framework in which social value can thrive and develop. And then I think your final point, which one of my panelists made about the VCSE sector and supply chains, we can only deliver social value if we have socially value creating organizations. And that's often forgotten. And we're starting to encounter this in some of our work, where, companies and SMEs and even other social enterprises want to partner with organizations to create social value, but they either can't find them or they don't exist or don't exist at the scale required to deliver the work that they do. So that's where policymakers need to be focused, not on telling us what social value is, about actually creating the infrastructure to thrive.